Good morning, everybody. Oh, yesterday was kind of a boring day. Didn't go very far, but thought maybe it would go a little lower, but it didn't. It held actually right at the top of that little congestion area that we talked about. I was thinking it would come down here to the bottom of it, give or take, and nope, opened lower and was a grind up and kind of flatlined. I thought mentioned in the green room yesterday when I saw this hourly reversal on the spiders that it would maybe have a dive into the close, but nope. And it recovered and ended the day with a little bit of a green bar there. So some stabilization after a few days down on top of the 20 MA and a little bit of support there. And intraday charts are kind of like nothing. Getting closer to a major support point, a relatively deep retracement. It could stabilize here and try and make a turn. It's just not a good pattern for anything of significance yet. If this was in an uptrend, this section right here, it'd be looking for a bottoming tail bar, some kind of next stabilization bar that would suggest a move up. It would be in an uptrend, whereas it's in a sideways trend. Had this strong move down, somewhat of a strong move up. That was unexpected. This was on the Jolts news. And then this pullback here. So it's a pattern or a thing where time frames are out of sync. So far this week, just an inside week on SPY going nowhere. So not sure, I think next week it tell the tale. I'm not expecting too much today, in any significant movement. And unless it did move down into this area right here, where the depth of the retracement of this red bar was closing down here, that would be a stronger indication of potential move to the downside. This 440 area strike has a lot of open interest in it, puts and calls. So it could be an inflection point, but yet to be seen. I've got it kind of marked off here, and you can see the support point. So nothing decisive here to say things are going to move one way or another. Kind of when I saw this yesterday afternoon, after that didn't go down, my other comment was, hey, this looks like it could be a little tiny measured kind of move to the upside to fill the gap. Maybe that's going to happen. You can see the bounce off of the lows here. And so little strength move here pre-market. And yeah, maybe it does get up here to near that pivot and unfilled gap. Where then probably it just starts to go nowhere again, but that's what we're dealing with right now. Notice the 15-minute chart. Not per se just the 15-minute, but what I'm pointing out here is that just back and forth going nowhere over for several hours. And so it's starting out at the top of the base. And so assuming over the next 25 minutes or so, it holds on to this little move up, it's going to pretty much open up where it ended yesterday, pullback, gap down, green bar, could go up and tag the 50 MA. So that, on a very short-term basis, if things hold up, maybe a move up toward that, and then we'll see what happens from there. Using multiple time frames, specify sideways, please. Yeah, opposing pivot highs and opposing pivot lows in a range. That's a sideways range. That's sideways. Yeah. You got support and resistance, and sideways means no one's decisively winning. buyers or sellers. They're just battling back and forth within a sideways range, and right now it's indecisive. So, based on what I said, opening here, if it can start to move up, we look to the left and we look to where the next reference point is. And that would be up here at this pivot. So, and again, like taking it from there, where do we go from there? Well, consolidation, we would assume. I don't expect that there's no significant news today that, is on the calendar. So depending on where things end up, there is this void where prices came down from, and there's an unfilled gap up here. So, that's too far away to be considering anything for today. So, just for right now, above here, we can go up and maybe tag the 50 MA, and below those pivots, well, I would think, look, below those pivots, this isn't going to hold. Then it's likely it's going to come down here into this 440 area, or take somewhere in here. But there's nothing going on right now to suggest that. It's just that if it does break down below that, things have changed from what I'm talking about right now. So things move around, obviously. Futures, I put the actual contract here rather than I usually look at the continuous contract. So, which has got this gap up. So, just an inside bar going on here, stuck between the 50 and the 20. And I think that it's going to be kind of that kind of a day, just flip-flopping back and forth. Sometimes, a beach day or a golf day or whatever. Not expecting too much, the way things are positioned at this moment. Well, like I said, Alex, it's a continuous contract. That's why I went and put on the the actual expiration for December. And so it's inside. And so no, there's no gap. Let me see, the NQs are just trading inside the Dow, just hovering here. I would expect the Dow, with the depth of this move breaking yesterday's low, would come down here and probably break that low. But I'm not thinking that's going to happen today, but the weekly chart looks a little bit more, with a weak close that it goes lower. But looking at, the actual industrials, and just kind of whipping around there. So I think, again, we're going to have to wait till next week to see how things shake out today, and then into next week. I'll get to SPX in a minute, but the transports broke down. So that's a bet for the bearish side, and September following through. So if the transports continue to go lower, I think that has a negative effect. The pivot is down here, just above the 200. I always got to look at, why these. Well, I don't know why these have like 50 stocks and the actual transports have 20, but they do follow themselves somewhat closely. But you can see the difference in the charts. So always going back and looking at the actual 20 transports there, but breaking down under the pivot, and held that next pivot over there to the left. And I think after a few days down, just chop. And for today, all right, SPX held the numbers yesterday, which I said the downside I thought had a lot more of a no-brainer scenario, since it was so far away in the lines of support. And today, last I looked, let me see if things have changed, but was 44.10. down below. 44.85, but let me just go back and look here. Sometimes these things change. $44.10. That coming down 60 points from yesterday. And range from before. Wow. No, that ain't right. What am I looking at here? That's got to be the bottom side. Yeah, that's the bottom side. 44.10. And this one, I got the colors messed up. Strike. Strike was 44.90. So today, kind of the middle of the range there. Iron Condor Day. It's opening here. Unlikely it's going to get up there today. You got the 50 MA in the way. And down below here. So, and again, I think things are going to rattle around. I don't think they'll get up here and they won't get down there. Unless something surprising comes out. And I guess one of the biggest surprises as of, what happened here with Apple cratering down, and that's on support. So I don't think sellers are going to try and pound this thing down any more than what it is already. So I don't suspect that's going to do much, but look at that weekly chart. That's kind of ominous for a move lower, if it breaks these lows here. And so with Apple going down, should it do that, the markets have to be affected for sure. UNH in the Dow, I thought, breaking this low, but it didn't. It gapped up yesterday, but still bearish in the lower part of this wide range bar. So set an alert on this. If this starts to break down, which probably won't happen before next week, but breaking below here, that's got a void. So as far as the bearish scenario for next week, highest price stock in the Dow, if that starts to break lower, it's going to affect the Dow. And other markets, we looked at the futures that are going absolutely nowhere at the moment. You put more weight into, I do, yeah. So if I'm going to look at the Dow, yeah, DJT, or in my platform TRAN, it's the same thing, yeah. Well, DJU, if you talk utilities there, they've been smashed, and interest rates, came down a little bit. Well, that'll help them. Interested in utilities, but little bounce there, breaking some support. So yeah, that bounce up a little bit as interest rates not really pulling back very much, but stabilize there. So utilities are just down a whole lot. There's the 30-year, just kind of going sideways. So that's for now bullish price action after that run up. And we'd expect that, well, if it clears this, it'll keep going higher. Bitcoin, we looked, it's just flip-flopping around there at support. And yeah, gold. I mean, that looks like a measured move lower, but just look, that's just in a trading range right now, relatively tight. Sideways back and forth there. Gasoline, it's just in a trading range right now. But set an alert on this. I mean, this is pointed up on the weekly chart. And, if you look at USO, it's a little extended, but holding up. That broke out. And again, if oil continues to push up and interest rates are pushing up, and the dollar continues to hold up here, it was down a little bit this morning. So interest rates stable, the dollar pulling back, that's helping equities a bit. But looking at the bigger picture, higher timeframes and trends, that is supportive of some more downside action if these trends continue. Dollar, interest rates, oil. So we'll see how it plays out. Excuse me. For today, for the moment, I'm not expecting too much out of today. But we'll see how it plays out. All yours, Dan.
Morning. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Remember yesterday we said these 15-minute charts. One second. All right, spiders. Yeah, we were saying this 15-minute chart, if we open flat, it kind of looks like a magnet here to the gap fill at least. And then McGraw is telling me SPX 4470, which is right over this 15-minute resistance. Could get some gamma hedging going. And so that's a good number today. I like it because it's a no-brainer in alignment with this 15-minute chart in day trading. So if we get a bullish pattern, actually it'll be bullish, 50 cents under that 447. So just set an alarm here at this gap fill. And then if we get bullish price action at that gap fill, I'm going to be fully bullish for day trading today. Let's see, earnings here. We did only, I think I did 3 of them. I only gave 1 Daku here. And this is what's called a short strangle. And I'll post it again here in case you just got here. But it was we couldn't have asked for a better outcome when you short options. Well, if you short a call or a put, obviously you want it to gap and away from the short strike. But when we sell straddles and strangles, that means we aren't picking a bias. We're saying, I don't think I'm just going to go as far away as I can and get paid for it, and just hope it opens relatively flat, because then the volatility contraction on those inflated premiums into earnings is just going to get squashed. I guarantee you we could close this at a penny each side if you wanted to. But I'm deciding to do what I just posted there, just give them big old wide stops and let it expire worthless. And that, that's why I love options. Can you imagine going into the Wynn Hotel that all they do is buy and sell stock and saying, oh, can you tell me where the booth is? Where I can, collect money, as long as it doesn't go really far away, and they're going to scratch their head and like, sir, you're in the wrong building. We don't do that here. And that's why we say options, create options. All right, did I lose? Yeah, I lost my pre-market data here. Hold on. All right, so there's spiders flat, back to Daku. That's to say, look, initial move up, now it's flat. You just cannot ask for a better outcome. I'm smart. I shorted the 35 puts. So this one, I'm be able to close at a nickel. Papa Lima downtrend. I don't know what they do, but that looks horrible. All time frames, GWRE. I sold the 75 puts way the heck down here. Remember, Greg, this is the one we had a long discussion on, and I like daily, weekly, monthly. We were saying, is it a real company? And I did it. So I'm 3 for 3 today on earnings trades. This one I'm putting into my big gap category. Let's see what it does. I think, I saw something on CNBC about, China slowdowns hitting a lot of these luxury companies, particularly, foreign ones like the Louis Vuittons, Moet Hennessy getting whacked. But I have this in the bottom right here. Swabi, we talked about this in great detail. Things that sell off this much and you have a Climo into earnings, I just have a bullish bias. I don't care if it opens up, down, or sideways. That's my bias. Even if it gaps down another $1, 30-minute high, I would look for a bullish setup. All right, so I did not do the 10s puts just because it was a tad close, 50 cents away. Although 50 cents is 4.5%. Breeze, we were talking about doing the 40s. I did not do them, but that would have worked. But now it's gapping too big. Got no interest. Sidmo. This, I don't see a gap. I show it a print up here, up 8 cents. So that could be if it does open up 8 cents, then wait 5 minutes and then short yesterday's low for a day trade to start. Zoom Z, bearish gap, big old topping pattern now. Kroger had earnings plus. They announced. Somebody has to explain this one to me. I saw on CNBC, one of the news channels, that they settled for like $1.5 billion on the opioid crisis. What the heck is a grocery store doing part of an opioid crisis? I just don't understand. That's why. Thanks. I didn't know. I didn't know Kroger and pharmacies. All right, that answered it. All right, this is a ugly buy setup. It came down with power, not controlled. But yesterday's high could be the turn, a little shock. Rent looks like this might be going to the graveyard. I mean, look at this. Look at these moving averages. And look, moving averages, they tell us so much if you know how to use them properly. So look how these three were all declining in a controlled manner. And now the 20 and 50 just railroad track. This, you could take off the candlesticks, and that's like a picture of a death trend. Those three moving averages right here, and this is just liquidation. Wow. So no interest there. All right, a couple here from my list yesterday. Below, some of us did put spreads here. We got filled on this little pullback. I gave it as a directional over yesterday's high. I see XOP gapping up here. So that will help that. Walmart, don't have a good entry here, but it's bullish daily, weekly, monthly. Dunking, nice range expansion, closing breakout. I was hoping for a 1, 2, 3. Airbnb is a continuation bar. Last Wednesday, MT Live, we talked about continuation patterns. This is actually a gap reversal under these two bars. Pat's liquor store here. It's finding buyers here. not going down anymore. You know, I don't know why it's not showing a 20 MA. I got it more than 20 days here. But if I were to visualize a 20 MA, you know, it's starting to flatten out. SIBO closing breakout, that'll be a nice 1, 2, 3. And TNX is strong. But not crazy about the entry here, but daily, weekly, monthly are strong. Dino closing breakout, buy setup weekly. DFS short watch, yesterday's low. TEL. Now, you know what? This is a great example of why we love swing trading. Swing trading is, you know, we're trying to get just short-term swings, like, you know, 2 to 7 day kind of thing. So we bought this on this little gap breakout from this Climo, and we just rode it and went into trail mode. And we're off. Now it's on support. It could possibly be setting up a double bottom, but I need a more potent turn. But notice that the weekly is kind of a bull sandwich. So the weekly is bearish. So I got conflicting time frames. CMI talking about sandwiches. We got a bear sandwich here. I set an alarm at 2:34. Luminar, no volume. Fizz, I think had earnings, but that's a Climo. This could be a put spread if it opens flat. There was some news about the strip in Vegas. Some employee strip union, not stripper, Alex, the Las Vegas strip, going on strike. And so, you know, obvious people affected will be casinos. So I looked at a couple of them here. Now see, it's a pullback to support. MGM pullback, turn on support. So that this, remember we were talking about General Motors recently. You know, we were talking about a pattern, but you know, down here, but you know, they got strikes looming. So it takes a little, it takes more trust of buying a bullish pattern when you know they're in the middle of bearish activity. No, Nazar, I said Las Vegas Strip. All right, let me write all these down now. Let's, well, here, I'll just type them down here and we'll look at them in real time. ACN, BX, Google. All right, we'll come back to those in a minute. All right, so win. Now this is a little similar to that other one I just mentioned, that it's a pullback and bottoming tail, major support, but bearish weekly. And look at the monthly, it's on wins actually a kind of an M top with a lower high. Here's another one, you know, possible retest daily, but weekly is bearish. But at least this one's getting a gap up. It had an upgrade. Fizzler had an upgrade, so I am going to, I got Swabby on the other chart. This could turn out to be a beautiful 0 DTE trade if there's any juice. Goldman, the journal today said that they're gonna fire this month some underperforming workers. Let's see, this one is in better alignment, the daily and weekly, because this one is on major support and made the turn. So do y'all see the difference of this versus the other two I told you about? One was a casino and one was Tel, I think. And then, so this major difference here. So this is another 0 DTE candidate. Yeah, Riven alarm just went off. So I'm going to put Goldman in a window. I will watch. Yeah, Riven here. And yeah, this is bullish price action. All right, I heard a bell, so I got filled at a nickel on one of my earnings trades. I see our whiskey moving up. So Greg, let's wow, IWM tanking here on the 5-minute.
You see that?
So I was going to give 5-minute high on this, but should we just do it right now, Ryvan? Or do you want to wait 5 minutes?
I don't know that that's affected much. I think 5-minute high is fine. Like, stop's going to be under yesterday's low. So
Yep, Uber alarm, Alex. So I obviously had one also.